And now the final chapter in listen, Bringer. What, Trixie? Look at the word count. What about the word count? Holy! That is not a small number! No, that is a big number! Trixie knows! Whoa! Okay. I guess we're going to do this more than 2 parts. Seriously, green grass and clouds, do we have to go 16? Really? Raindrops. The weathermare barely registered the voice next to her. Her gaze had narrowed until all she could see was Mario's trembling visage. Dimly, she heard a soft growling sound and knew it was coming from her own throat, but she didn't care. Let's see you suffer a fraction of what you've put us all through. Raindrops. Raindrops saw her a little closer to Mario, as if to bite his head off. She increased the pressure on his throat by a tiny amount. The mafioso gulped and said something she didn't care to listen to. Raindrops! The words finally broke through the weremare's focus. What? She snapped, looking to her side. Charlie was there, concern expressed on her face. What are you doing? She asked. Nothing. Raindrops turned back to Mario, who squeaked slightly. Don't worry about it. Charlie's hoof touched her shoulder. It's over, she said in a calm but firm voice. We're done. We can stop fighting now. It's not over, Raindrops murmured. How can it be over? He hasn't paid for what he's done yet. He will. We'll take him to jail. Jail? This is a single word that broke through the last of Raindrops' self-restraint. She whipped her head around, glared at Charlie, eyes blazing. Yeah, this worked real well so far, hasn't it? Not one of these corrupt darkies spawn paid for their crimes so far, but I'm sure it'll start now. I'm sure we dragged the smuggler, this hit cult, this beast back to the jail. Luna won't send him on his way in a week with a gold star for good behavior. She was pushing Mario hard enough, and he was pinned against the wall. How do you know he'll actually get punished this time? Because I'll make sure of it. Baramax tried up behind Charlie. He seemed to have recovered most of his demeanor, despite his cuts, bruises, and the other mess that had been made of his coat and mane. He stood noble and strong. Raindrops, I will personally assure you I will monitor each and every one of the cases here. And should I see any pony getting off undeservedly, I will protest it until the matter is resolved. I will not let any of them skate unjustly. Unjustly? What? So there's some way for them to get out that's just? Snapped Raindrops. If you really wanted to enforce justice, you're telling me that you see to it they get locked up forever! Max shook his head. A life sentence might not be the result, but why should they get a second chance at life and then they spend so much time ruining other people's first chance at lives? Who cares if they repent and get out? Tears were forming in Raindrops' eyes. Mario said he'd be willing to attack falls at that toe to get out of jail. I don't care if he's sorry now. Get rid of all of them! Does that include, said Shirley in a quiet voice, ponies who became schoolyard bullies? Raindrops' voice caught for a moment. That's different, she said in a low voice. I was a fool then. The Lucas and all the others here aren't. They're grown. They know what they're doing. I said Goliath, but I wasn't talking about him. How could he possibly object if I roughed Mario up a bit? Her eyes narrowed. How about a broken leg would get him to think long and hard before he could hurt any pony else? Okay, said Max, but does that include me? I'm talking about criminals, Baron, not random ponies that annoy me. Max nodded, yes. And Princess Luna criticized all her nobles, myself included, for our criminal actions and misconduct. He paused. I was part of that, and I deserved it. You? What did you do? Something that Luna, legally, could have me stripped of my title for. Max paused. Do you want me in jail, Raindrops? Or dead? He did not add what would have happened to snails in the train season had I not been there, and protect him. He didn't need to. Look, said Raindrops after a few moments. This isn't a case of one mistake. This guy had a career around breaking the law. So did I. Raindrops turned to look to her side, where a cream-colored pony with the maze of glasses around her ears was approaching. Used to, anyway. Do I know you? Tutti Empe. Charlie and I go back. Raindrops curled her lips. The smuggler. The one who got away with it. Uh-huh. I want to know why. Let me guess. You said you were real sorry. No. Dewey glanced at Charlie, looking nervous, but the teacher nodded accordingly. There's a city in the Crystal Empire that sits in a valley amongst the mountains. 3 years ago, they got hit by a plague. It shot through them so quickly it totaled the populace of the city. The few crystal ponies still healthy enough to fight quarantine the place, it sealed out the passes so it won't spread. You put in some kind of impenetrable cloud overhead so no pony can fly in or out. Of course, that meant once Sequestria came up with medicine, we had no way of getting to them. See approached Raindrops. I knew the secret routes through the mountains. When Luna asked if there was any pony who could save the city, I volunteered. I knew she'd find out I was the smuggler. No other pony would know those routes. I didn't care. There were tens of thousands of ponies' lives on the line. I ran the medicine through the barricades, through some of the most impossible mountains any settled nation. I ran the blockades, knowing the medicine didn't work. If there had been a mistake, I'd be only offending myself too. But I made it. I delivered the medicine, and that's why. When I returned to Equestria, Luna told me my punishing for years of ignoring tariffs, laws, and border patrols was a few months in jail, and not to do it anymore. That's different, hissed Raindrops. It's not like what this guy and his brother did. Nice gesture to Goliath and sneak attack. Both are causes on the other side of the room. So do you agree with them? No, Look. Raindrops took a long breath. Raindrops, let me ask you, as I asked the last chat yesterday, what gives you the right? What gives you the right to determine who lives or who dies or gets punished? Think about what punishing them or doing this to them is going to do. It's not going to help them. Sure, you're going to feel better about it. And yeah, you will. Yeah. They're going to be hurting. But what's that going to do for people who heard what you've done? It's going to scare them. And ruling, helping through fear, and being fear, that's not a good rule. Because fear also leads to anger. People will start mistrusting you, will start thinking that it's just perfectly fine to kick your ass because of what you've done. Maybe those ponies only deserve jail, but this guy, him? She shook Mario, who squealed. He's willing to hurt foals to get what he wants. He's willing to hurt snails. His ponies might have already done so. Snails have suffered all day because of these ponies. Because of Sneak Attack and Goliath and every single pony they captured. He doesn't deserve that. Why should snails have to keep suffering for their sakes? Why can't they suffer for once? Raindrops, you don't want to hurt Mario, Shirley said quickly. You're upset because Snails was in danger today. Because of a bunch of bad circumstances. I can understand that, but even now, Snails could be in Stopiosos because of ponies like him! Raindrops was almost screaming. Maybe I want my little brother to have a good life without worrying about ponies like him. There's nothing wrong with that! Shirley gently turned Raindrops' head, so they were looking at each other. Do you want Snails to live in a world in which any pony he offends can decide for themselves that he should suffer? She slipped a hoof at the rubble, that ruined the furnishings, destroyed columns, and the sinking prisoners who had been within moments of death. Is this the world you want to prepare for your brother? Raindrops said nothing for a long moment. Her tears continued to spatter against the ground, but otherwise the mirror was silent. Then, with a roar that almost shook the room, she slammed both forehoofs at Mario, but punched him into the concrete behind the stallion, driving through it and not stopping until she reached the rock of the cannon horn. She screamed for almost a full minute, because she despised the criminals and vigilantes in the room, as much as Sneak Attack, if not more. But she knew that if she indulged her anger, she'd only be hurting the ponies she loved. She knew it was not worth it to hurt any of them, not the criminals, not anymore. Rationally, she knew they were not responsible for being abducted. Not Goliath, who had the mind of a fool, was not responsible for any of this. Not a sneak attack. A pathetic lump at the side of the room who was not worth the effort at the testing. Because if she did, it would hurt Snails and the other innocents who would suffer in a culture that accepted vigilantes as justice. She hated them, but she wouldn't act on her anger. Because as much as she hated them, she loved Snails far more. Do you ever find it ironic that Garth Ennis wrote a Punisher story that was all about him trying to prove to Matt that the world's not all black and white and yada yada yada, when the Punisher made the situation black and white himself, and that the Punisher himself is a very black and white person who only sees the guilty and nothing else? Do you ever find that ironic? And Ennis. He may be good at writing the Punisher stories, but I laugh at that whole entire Daredevil scenario. And I may not remember, but I think it was probably done better in Netflix. Chances are it was. Because as much as she hated them, she loved Snails far more. Shirley hugged her, absorbing confused spasms of resting the Weathermare's hair on her shoulder. It's okay. It's okay. It's not okay. He's my brother. I'm supposed to look out for him. You helped protect him from ponies that some of the city's strongest criminals couldn't put up a fight against. You beat Goliath to keep him safe. Shirley smiled slightly. You did fine. But he's innocent, pure, and I'll let him get hurt. You saved him again and again. Shirley hugged her friend. You don't believe me. We'll go back to Greengrass's garden right now, and he can tell you himself. Well, the Mafia attacked. And then Carrot Top bombed them off raindrops. Snails is my student, and I care for him too. Do you honestly think I would leave him anywhere that I didn't know was safe? She paused. And I think you know it too. Or you wouldn't have let us leave here with him either. We have found somewhere else if we had to. We knew we didn't have to. Raindrop said nothing. She felt very empty all of a sudden. Rationally, she knew it was unlikely the Mafia had found Snails, and even less likely they had taken him. Greengrass had destroyed the crane in the freight tunnels, so he was clearly a capable fighter. Twilight was brilliant and probably could be useful, even without magic. Carrot Top had battled alicorns, demon rams, and other assorted monsters that threatened Equestria. The scruffy monsters wouldn't threaten them, but she still couldn't help but worry. With a blast of magic, a piece of parchment appeared in front of them. Shirley reached over and picked it up. Looks like Twilight got the ring off, she said merrily. Huh? Twilight just teleported us a message. It said Carrot Top helped her get the ring off with a potion to drain her magic. And now she could teleport Carrot Top and herself up here to help us fight. Or just teleport us healing potions if we need them. We just need to write down anything we want in the back of this lair. It'll be teleported back to her and... Did the Mafia attack? Asked Raindrops. What did it say? Shirley looked down at the lair. Yes. Some police showed up and tried to abduct Carrot Top and Snails. Raindrops' mouth dropped. But the good ponies won. The Mafia was defeated. In Twilight, Carrot Top and Snails aren't hurt. Shirley smiled. The rest of her words were cut off by a bone-crushing hug. After that, all that remained was wrapping up. You say that, but I'm looking at the red button up there, and we are nowhere near the bottom. There had been one hiccup as Max tried to organize the prisoners to get out of the airship docking bay. Metelli Luca, grabbing a short razor from the tool cabinets at the side of the room, had seized the aide's Viclox and tried to escape with him as a hostage. The remaining elements in Max were so worn from their earlier fights that Luca might have been able to escape. But no sooner had Metelli left through the maintenance door, he found himself in the hose of the prison guards Max had summoned. They arrived several minutes after the elements had set up a perimeter, while figuring out what to do next. As a result, Metelli Luca was once again apprehended before he could continue his life of crime. After that, none of the prisoners gave him any trouble. 2 guards remained in the airship docking bay to sift through the rubble and look for the third abductor, the one had apparently been buried. The rest worked with Max and the elements to get the abductors, ex-cons and criminals, to the main card station of the city. Ultimately, the elements, Max, and 5 of the guards walked with the vigilante victims. One carried the unconscious sneak attack, and the last 4 lugged Goliath. He did have to wait for a few more minutes once he reached the guard station. His R2 fixer and his factory security forces just arrived with 20-pound cultists, a newly recaptured Soleil Supreme, and enough captured explosives to level half a Canterlot. Fisher had seen overjoyed at his victory, and had gone on about how his forces stopped the Sun Cult and seized every point in the city. His expression quickly changed, though, when Max made his way through the crowd and presented to capture Lucas. The Ponies that Fisher had shut the sound the city defined to the guards. Neither of the elements had been able to resist chuckling, or outright laughing when Carrot Top and Greengrass showed up with a cart of more unconscious mafia ponies, including the Canterlot boss Stampina, who Fisher's forces had utterly tried to find. It wasn't a good day for the Archduke in terms of publicity. By the time the elements, Greengrass, and Max returned to the warehouse, the city was coming to life again. The Friendship Express was rolling out in the train station, and the sun was starting to set. Raindrops, however, did not notice any of this. She found her pace quickening as he approached the warehouse until she was flying down the stairs. "Snails!" she called. "Snails! I'm back! Snails!" The little colt jumped on her just as she pulled down the stairwell, and the two rolled to the ground in the middle of Greengrass's prize begonias, smiling and hugging and having a blast. "Did you say to stay, sis?" asked Snails. "Twilight said so, but I want to hear from you." "I sure did." Raindrops ruffled Snails' mane. "Be it the bad ponies. They won't ever hurt any pony ever again." "How big?" "Oh, they were big, all right. I gotta tell you about the one I fought sometime." Raindrops sat up. "How's you do? Feeling better?" Snails bobbed his head up and down. "Uh-huh." "Think you're a good little brother?" "Oh, I'm a great little brother. In fact, I think you're lucky to have me around." Snails laughed and began running circles around Raindrops. "I'm good with bugs, and I know cool magic, and when I grow up, I'm going to use all my skills to do really awesome stuff." "Glad to hear it." Raindrops held out a hoof and caught Snails and began tickling him. She knew the other elements, Max, Twilight, and even Greengrass, were looking at them with bemused expressions, but didn't care. "What changed?" Raindrops laughed until Raindrops stopped tickling him, then said, "Carrot Top and Mr. Greengrass and Miss Twilight showed me how even really silly talents can be way cool." Raindrops looked up to see the 3 ponies and exchanged glances. Greengrass finally said, "I'm not sure I'd phrase it like that, but yes, we did demonstrate how weeding and herbology and physics," cited Twilight. "Yes, that too. We're useful in fighting some very mean ponies." He seemed to take it well. Raindrops looked back at Snails, who was grinning as he nuzzled up against her foreleg. "Yeah, I say so." Baron Max watched the scene for a moment, then turned to Cheerilee and waved her aside. "Dame Cheerilee, a word." "Yes?" asked the teacher. "I just want to say," he took a breath, "look, I know the government wasn't terribly helpful today. Frankly, it was almost useless, and I want to apologize." He bowed. "Both for the failure of the court and for my own earlier attitude. I know I was dismissive of your feelings when you said you did not see at any point asking the guards or court for help. Now I know why you did it." Cheerilee thought for a moment. "It's true that our interactions with the government have typically been less than useful. Your help, however, was invaluable. If we had refused to work with you, Snails might have been captured. You might not have been able to find the abductor's hideout at all, let alone defeat them in combat. If you had gotten those prison guards, I'm not sure we could have stopped Matilda and Luca from escaping." She bowed her own head. "Thank you for providing the government resources of yourself, your guards, and your records." Max blushed. "There's no need." "Wait." Shirley raised up again and smiled. "In the future, you don't need to worry. I promise that we'll at least make an effort to enlist government resources for this kind of thing before doing it on our own." Baron slowly nodded. "And for my part, I will continue doing whatever I can to improve the government so that it becomes more useful. So that way the situations last year with the relief funds in Ponyville, or the one today with the guards all being unavailable, will never happen again. He smiled faintly. It'll probably take a long time, but I won't back down. I'll keep going, so will the other nobles in the court. Such does his Posey, Viceroy Wallflower, and so forth. We'll get it done. I believe you, Max. The two bumped hooves. Across the garden, Greengrass was looking ruefully over his garden. Most of the plants had survived, but the casualties, torn out by the roots by Carrot Top's potions, crushed by stampeding mafia opponents, even eaten by a certain unicorn foal who had apparently gotten Peckus. My garden. He sighed. Alas, I barely knew any. Excuse me. Greengrass turned to see Raindrop's Carrot Top. A snail's perched on his sister's back. Carrot Top smiled politely. They continued saying, We'd like to say something. The gardener straightened. Certainly. Raindrop took a deep breath. I still don't like you, she said. What you did to Ponyville, what you tried to do to Lyra, Carrot Top, all of us, is unconscionable. I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive that. She paused. But you did fight to protect snails. You kept us safe from the mob. And you did help me realize how I could be useful, even though I'm not great at hoof cups, said Carrot Top, albeit in a rather insulting way. So we wanted to thank you, began Carrot Top. Well, first pointing out that not turning a fool over to organized crime is not exactly a high ethical bar to leap over, interjected Raindrops. Carrot Top nodded. Yes, well, that is mine. Thank you. Oh, well, it was my pleasure, really. Greengrass gave a slight wave of his hoof. Happy to help the sibling of Equestria's greatest heroes and all that. I'm sure you would have done the same if I had a little brother. Of course, said Carrot Top, cutting off Raindrops. We would. Greengrass smiled slightly, then turned back to his Stamets garden. Twilight watched the scenes, slowly letting her smile fade away from her face. Finally, she knew she couldn't wait any longer. She approached Max. I guess I should get to that hearing now, for inadvertently violating my house arrest. Max turned from cheerily and looked at Twilight. Right, that, yes. I'll walk you to the station myself. Don't worry. I'll see to it that they understand what happened. You were lied to by sneak attack. They can't hold that against you. The mate sighed. Thanks. Max began walking Twilight to the door. I could personally testify to what happened. To sneak attack redirecting your mail. And everything. No reasonable judge will hold it against you. What judge do you think I'll get? Probably the same one who judged your case originally, or... Actually, it'll be Princess Luna herself. Max turned talking and looked at the night guard who entered the garden. So did everybody else. The night guard turned, smiled, and bowed. My apologies. Princess Luna has just returned, and she desires to speak with you at her earliest convenience. She's been given to understand you were behind some of the events this day, and would love to know more. Understand? From who? Asked Raindrops. Oh, you know, prison guards, clerks, postal employees, a few ex-cons who seem to think you had a little more to do with saving their lives than you seem our serious fixer. The night guard turned and inclined her head. She'd love to hear all about it from the seven of you. Snail said a quick count. Saffron, even me? Of course, the night guard said, even you. The girl grinned. I get to see the princess! Awesome! He began to scamper after the night guards, with various degrees of smiles. The rest had followed. And so that's what happened, fizzed Raindrops. Excuse me, but could you give it to me again? You just came into the throne room and said, and that's what happened. Princess Luna Equestrius, sitting atop her throne, nodded slightly. She had asked each of the 7 ponies to describe the events they had seen and participated in that day, from when they awoke until Luna summoned them. Very well, she said. Thank you for your testimonies. I am ready to render judgment. The ponies looked at each other. Judgment? Echoed Max. Luna flapped her wings and got to her hose. Of course, she said. Dames, I would like to begin with you. Dames Raindrops, Charity, and Carrot Top, approach. The 3 knights stepped forwards. Once again, you have done your nation proud. Your conduct has been brave, righteous, noble, in a word, admirable. Luna smiled at the 3 ponies. You have saved 25 lives, including those of ponies behind you in the train tunnels, and brought monstrous criminals to justice. What's more, the nation is your debt. She bowed her head. Raindrops blessed. Thank you. We accept your praise with gratitude, Princess Luna, said cheerily. She bounced a little, her head almost touched the ground. We aren't it? It is I who was honored. Luna nodded the image. You may withdraw. Snails, come forth. Snails looked very puzzled and approached. Yes, your highness. Dear Studentfold, you have provided a vital piece of evidence which allowed for your sister and her colleagues to determine the identity of one of the abductors. This is a crucial piece of information needed to resolve the case. I thank you for your service as well. Snails brushed a bright scarlet. You're welcome, your royal missishness. Luna laughed. Ha ha ha. In addition, your actions were not only courageous and noble, but far more than your years. I am willing to consider a request for a royal boon. A boon? Snails blinked. It means a gift, said in Twilight. A present. Raindrops blinked. Please don't ask for such a gigantic bug that's gonna rampage through Thronefield, eat all our food and touch our fulls, even if it does time tiara. Snails furrowed his brow with deep thought. I'm thinking, he said as he worried about being timed. I'm thinking. Take your time, said Luna. I would not want you to rush such a request. It's just, there's two things I want and I don't know what to ask for. Snails turned to Raindrops, then looked back at Luna. Can I ask my big sister? She's really smart. Luna grinned. You may. Snails nodded and ran to Raindrops. Okay, my first idea is a really cool bug. A bug that has cool powers that's totally awesome, that no Miss Ponyville's ever seen before. One that would make a great friend. He paused. Another thing is, a spell that'll let me eat all the ice cream I want without getting a headache. Raindrops, which do you think is better? There was silence for a moment, then Luna laughed. I can manage both of those, young Snails. You'll have your boons within a week. You may withdraw. Snails, looking like his birthday had come early, and involved a free trip to the mystical islands of gigantic bugs, bounced backwards. Twilight spoken, said Luna. Step forwards. The maid did so. Princess Luna, if I may, I know I violated my house arrest. I know I shouldn't have, but please. Luna looked at her with a gentle smile. Twilight spoken. Do you honestly believe I would punish a pony for something that was in no way her fault? Twilight shook her head. No, a few tears falling on the floor. No, thank you, your highness. But I wish to speak of another matter. After learning the true situation, many ponies would have tried to hide the problem by fleeing back to Ponyville, thereby helping to prevent any pony from noticing a violation of the house arrest, however accidental. However, you remained and chose to follow the lawful procedure for what to do when this situation arises. My understanding is you would have followed that procedure if you had been required to turn yourself in immediately. Yes, your highness. I've learned to stop running from my problems. You certainly have. Luna smiled again and tilted her head upwards as if thinking, What is your next shift at the Ponyfield Library? 2 days from now, starting at 9 in the morning. Well, like considering your exceptionary conduct today, your growth over the past 6 months, and the truly excellent reports I received from your conduct from the Ponyfield Town Council, provided you return to Ponyfield in time for your next shift, you may spend tomorrow at your parents' estate in Catalat. I'm sure they will begin. Twilight's eyes immediately began to wire. Thank you, she gasped. Princess, thank you so much. I promise to make the most of this opportunity. Excellent. You may withdraw. Luna turned to one of the 2 remaining ponies. Ben and Maximus, step forwards. When she was kneeling in front of her, she said, Ben, your conduct too has been exemplary. You worked tirelessly for the ponies in this city, fought for the justice, heedless of personal risk to yourself, assisted the elements in saving several lives. Once again embodying the nobility that I hope to see in our court, I thank you. Thank you, your high princess, said Max. However, I would ask a question. Luna paused, then her horn flashed, producing a silvery dome around the noble and the princess. Max realized that he couldn't hear anything outside the dome. Guessed that they were now safe from being heard by the others. Luna added, This is the second time in 6 months in which you've been involved in an adventure like this. And of course I am familiar with a few other, more minor adventures in that time span. Do you enjoy them? Max had to think about it. They tend to hurt, but each time I've gone on one of these quests, I saved lives or helped ponies. Yes, I enjoy that. The unicorn nodded. When I ennobled you, Baron Max, I was thinking primarily of the benefit you would bring to the court. I confess that I perhaps did not consider your own desires as much as I should have. If you would prefer to serve the ponies of this nation by battling those who hurt them in a more direct manner, I would not want to stand in your way. Max paused. I don't understand. If you desire, I am willing to make you a knight errant instead of a noble. You'll be free to wander the land, fighting monsters and villains as you did today, and as you did 6 months ago, with outbreak conspirators. I can find another pony to cover a new plot, she smiled. I hope you'll decline this offer. You've done much good for Equestria and the court, and I anticipate you still doing more. But will it make you happy, Max? I will make the switch. You have earned it. She trailed off. Max was struggling to avoid laughter. I fail to see the human in this situation. It's only... That's the same argument Greengrass made to me, right after the Yelpblade thing, when he was trying to talk to me and leaving the court. He said I'd be happier wandering around and saving foals that fell into wells than doing paperwork at Camelot. Luna said nothing for several moments. When she spoke again, it was a very unprincess-like, seriously? Max got himself under control and nodded. My answer is the same. I won't deny that I like saving the would-be victims of the Yelpblade ponies by punching the cultists, more than I enjoyed writing a bill for the Night Court. But I know that the bill would do more good than personally shutting down a dozen criminal groups. I can help more ponies by learning to pass good laws and repeal evil ones than I could by patrolling the nation, looking for criminals to kick. He smiled. I'm learning to enjoy how things I do affect the ponies of this nation. To feel happy after rewriting a bill for the 12th time, and getting it right so that, once it passes, it improves the lives of as many ponies as possible. That's what I want, Princess. To maintain my post and continue to do whatever I can to improve the lives of the ponies of this nation. That's what's best for every pony. Soon, they'll make me the happiest as well. The unicorn looked down for a moment and grinned. Very well, I'm glad you feel that way. But, in that case, I think I'll assign a few guards to your staff that you could use for investigative purposes. I'm sure that this pony won't mind if you being able to send in a few trained ponies the next time you uncover that criminal conspiracy, instead of going yourself. Max blushed, remembering how Fragrant had reacted the last time she kicked around with finding out like conspirators. Imagine she now is something like this. Thank you, Princess. Luna dropped the shield and sent him back. I'm finally Greengrass. You two defended innocents today, risking your own safety when they're battling the mob, and also the crane operator in the freight tunnels. Your heroism is appreciated. Oh, you know me, said Greengrass. If there's a chance to do something honorable and dangerous, then by gum, I'm there. We are sure, said Luna. It would be wrong for you to suffer for your heroic actions. I will ask the castle gardeners to visit your garden and restore it to its full glory. They were silent for a moment. Then Greengrass smiled brilliantly. Actually, as long as you're considering requests, I will listen to any request if you have one. Then, might I suggest, in view of my stunningly notorious conduct, you restore my influence in the court? All I request is a few words simply stating that you support me, and that I could manage my court. Luna closed her eyes for a moment. Dick, you know that is not how I run my court. But, furthermore, she said almost gently, while your actions today were most meritorious, I am truly glad to see how you changed since the gala. I cannot entirely make up for your earlier misdeeds. As much as I want to see you fulfill your dreams, just as I wish for every single one of my subjects to do the same, it would be unjust for me to exempt you from the consequences of your own actions. She smiled slightly. I too have made mistakes, and have learned to live with the results. Dick Greengrass, you must do the same. Move forwards. Use the power and prestige you retain in order to improve Equestria. I am confident you could still do much for the nation if you turn your talents towards good. For a moment, silence filled the room. Max understood why today was supposed to be the worst day of Greengrass's life so far. Greengrass was still smiling, still standing strong, but underneath it, he suddenly looked almost broken. Greengrass. Thank you for your testimonies. Well, the princess said to the room at large, I believe I must now deal with some other affairs, including that of a certain minister of war. Elements, snails, you are invited to reside in the castle overnight if you wish. Twilight, a guard will escort you to your parents' estate. Sea Rose, good day. Greengrass was out the door first, speaking to no pony as he hurried away. Max paused, glanced at the knights, and then hurried after him.